Hey, real quick before we get into this video, I have a quick giveaway for you guys. It's a €20 gift card for Card Market, which you can also use for not only cards, but for digital pack codes for the Fusion World card game as well. So you just have to enter by using the link in the description. I'll be pulling the winner on my live stream Monday at noon PST, and I should be doing more of these €20 gift cards in the future. So good luck on your entries and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Dragon Ball Super card game Fusion World Online Client, which I've been playing a lot in the last couple weeks. It launched about a month ago. It's pretty much like the first online client that Bandai has ever done as a card game company, which is really exciting, and it's just been a really good time, honestly, but there are some issues with it that I want to kind of go over. I think a lot of you guys already have some ideas of what could be wrong and what you guys would maybe change, but I'm going to give over my thoughts for it and kind of just have some expectations for what I would want changed in the future as well. So kind of the big 3 points we're going to talk about are gameplay and just functionality in general, the rank system, and then also the economy, or just how like cards are bought and how they're crafted and just everything else. So you guys can check those timestamps in the description. And then also we'll do kind of just like a conclusion and kind of what my wants are for the next couple weeks for changes and stuff. So that's kind of the idea of it, and let's just jump on into it. And real quick, in case you guys are new to the channel and just kind of saying what I've done with this game and my own personal bias going on into it. One, I've played Bandai card games for over 6 years and made YouTube content for it for over 5 years. So I've been pretty ingrained in this community and their card games in general. For Fusion World specifically on the online client, I've played over 250 games. I don't know the exact number, but over 250. I've gone about 200 packs between spending gems and then using like the points, like the card pack points as well, and just I guess money as well. So that's about 200 packs, and then also I've spent probably close to about 100 hours in the online client as well, and most of it's been live streaming, but I've been playing some offline as well. So that's this kind of the bias for me there. And then I also kind of include this last little bias is that I've been playing these card games for a long time. I've been a content creator. I've been wanting an online client for such a long time, and it's been really, really nice for these last couple weeks for me personally to just say, you know what, I want to stream some of this card game. All I have to do is turn on my computer, turn on this online client, and I'm good to go, right? Compared to what I've been pretty much doing for the last couple years as well. If I want a tournament, I either have to like schedule some webcam games. I need to like sleeve up the decks. This has been a really, really good accessibility thing for me. And I would also say that because of that, I have my own biases of one, I was probably going to put a lot of money into this anyway, so I'm maybe not like the target audience for like new players for this one compared to a lot of you other guys, and then I get to make a lot of content for it too. So I hope you guys know that those are my biases going into this video, that a functional client is really the minimum of what I was wanting in the first place. But I also know and I also recognize that for a lot of other people who are trying to get into this game, that the money wall could be an issue, or their experience with card games could be different than mine. And I just want to make sure that you guys know that that's the differences of perception for that. But I also want to keep your guys' thoughts and comments and just everything I've read in mind as well. So that's kind of just my biases and my experience with Fusion World in general. And let's go into just the actual gameplay for the online client. All right, going into the general functionality, honestly, it's very good, right? I'd say that, this was launched with only one set, right? So just barely over 100 cards in this card game right now. And also just the fact that this is a brand new card game in general. It wasn't like where Master Duel came out, right? Where there's like 10,000 different cards or anything like that. It was, a smaller task for this to develop, in the sense that there weren't a lot of cards to deal with. And since this was kind of co-developed along with the physical card game, they could kind of work together, I would assume, on like research development kind of stuff. So generally I've run into like little issues actually playing the game. There were like some minor bugs on release, and there was like some minor ruling differences or issues, but since then they've all been corrected. They've done a really good job at like seeing where some issues are for it. The biggest one that I remember is that there was the 4-drop cooler. The 4-drop cooler had an effect that you get to change something into rest mode. So we can go here and then we can check this guy. So the 4-drop cooler here, you get to target something, switch it to rest mode, and then if it's 2 or less, you get to KO it. It used to not be able target already rested cards, but that goes away against the effect for it. So they've corrected that, and they've done a very good job at like the gameplay centric stuff, being really earnest to it. So from that point, it's been really, really strong. And I think at this point, it's just 1-to-1, right? I don't think there's any issues. I don't think there's any bugs that I've noticed from all the game I'm playing. So from like the ground base, from that side, I think it's very good and very functional for that. I also think that it's really nice that they are nice enough to have ways to import and export deck list. That's something that's really important for me personally, because I do run like my website that has that too. So being able to have that functionality, I think, is strong. The deck builder is all right, nothing too fancy. I think it gets the job done. There are like a different bunch of different alt arts for this kind of stuff, but that is there. So I think like from a functionality standpoint, the client is fantastic. I couldn't really ask for much more. I don't have any qualms when playing the game actually. With accessibility, I think like the actual getting into the game, like the mechanics inside are very good, and there's just a whole lot of like polish on the actual gameplay as well. From a presentation standpoint as well, the game does look very good. Being able to see your leader on the screen the entire time, also having them awaken, not only having the animation, but also just changing what the model looks like, I think is great. Also, the individual battle cards, even though they are just squares, they do have kind of unique different attack animations. It's not just like a single one. Different cards have different ones, which I think is really cool and a nice little touch. And in general, yeah, there's just a lot of polish for what the gameplay looks like. The animations don't take too long either, and it just means like it's very fast and responsive too. Specifically when comboing, I've noticed that you can just easy drag and drop, and that's been very nice too. Kind of mimics what it's like in the real game, which I think is cool. So honestly, like just playing the game and building and everything else, all the like minimum stuff, I think they've hit out of the park, and it's in a really, really good spot. My only real issue is the battle viewing and just mostly just how much time it takes. I'm gonna click it right here and we'll see how long it takes. I'll have that in the corner of the screen and load while we are going through it. But honestly, other than that, like creating the room and everything else that you get from it is really nice. You just hit this create room. You get a good amount of options, including like time limit. You get to know if you want it to be kind of like private, and also if you can show your hand to viewers, and you can even just turn viewership off. But then also if you create the room right now too, what you're able to do is that you have this room information, you have a room ID, but also a spectator battle viewing ID, which personally for me is fantastic. So when I run my own tournaments, people can show both codes off. They can show their opponent the room ID. They can send me the battle viewing ID, so I can watch their gameplay and put a live stream of it while they're playing it as well. So honestly, that part's been really nice for it. It's just like the load times are a little bit rough for like finding the room at times. It takes like almost a minute sometimes, but other than that, I think this is a really good functionality. And I was really worried when this client was coming out, like what do rooms look like? How am I going to be able to spectate games? How am I, as like a guy who does a lot of production stuff, how am I going to tackle it? And they've made it moderately easy for me, which has been really, really nice. So to wrap up this section, it's been really great. I don't really have any qualms for the actual game itself. For a set one meta, there are a good amount of leaders that are viable right now. Card pool is obviously a little bit small because we only have one set, but even with that, I feel like I just have a variety of decks that I can play it on any given day, do pretty good with them, and just honestly have a good time. So that's like the core base of how this game is supposed to work. So I think all of that, like the actual features that matter from that sense of how to make a functional card game is fantastic for this game. And so what's the issue I find is the other 2 points we're going to talk about, and we're going to start off with the ranked system. So you guys can tell I'm in God rank right now. I'm just under 4,000 points here, which at this point is just under 200. So I'm top 200 on the server, and by server I mean the global server because it's everywhere for this one. And I think this is where a lot of people have had some issues with it. The first issue, we can just pretend to queue up right quick, is that they have this challenge system which they haven't implemented, where if you want to challenge, you can kind of wager points to do better, and if you lose, you do worse, kind of thing. They did have it like implemented for part of the beta back in January. It's weird to have it not implemented. I'm not sure why they would do that, but that's fine for right now. But it does make like grinding a little bit trickier at times, especially like you can make it faster if you need to. Also, it's just like a flat 20 points, so it's really a function of time rather than a function of skill, specifically because when you go and hit this button right here, the person you're going to queue up into is literally, as far as I know, literally anyone that also hit the button at the same time. It doesn't take into factors of like what skill you are, what rank you are, level you are, nothing. It doesn't take in account any of that stuff. So what that means is that I generally play people lower than my skill level, right? And because of that, it makes climbing pretty easy. It makes that they have a lot of non-games. But the issue too is that, little Jimmy, who just started their ranked account, right? This is their first game, could play against the first person on the server, like rank 1 on the server, right? Like 300 plus games, like 10,000 points. They could be playing against that as their first match, right? So I think that, and I've been talking to other people who are in God rank right now. The climb of it is not really worth it right now, mostly for two things. One, because most of the time you're playing against bronze and silver players, because statistically that's where more people are compared to the higher ranks, and also because of that, the gameplay is usually pretty easy for us who know how the game works and have played a lot of games. So there's that issue, and also probably have a larger card pool for that as well. But also, if we look at the rewards for it too, so at the end of the season, for being God rank right now, I would get 300 gems, which ends up being like 3 packs. We get 3 packs itself, so I guess 6 packs, and then like a little sticker. So not a lot, honestly, for how much time I had to go. Like a net 100 wins is actually quite a bit, right? We do get some additional rankings inside of God as well, where we get, for example, right now I'm in top 500, so I get 300 gems. If I go to top 100, I get another 100 gems. So if I finish God rank at 100th place right now, if the season ended, what I would get is 700 gems and 3 packs. So 10 packs of this, and then also the one, like this little reward sticker thing. So honestly, not a lot for all the time that I'm spending for it. And I think the other issue too is that there's not a lot to get in this game right now, which we can kind of go into the economy part of it. But the rewards aren't really there. I think so. I think like it's bragging rights at this time, which is mostly what you get anyways. But I think once you get to God rank, there's not much reason to climb more. The rewards really aren't worth it. And then also there's just nothing you get besides like bragging points for it. And then it's also really monotonous, right? If the games were like if you go to rank mode and you could play against players that you could feel like you were about the same skill level and would help you play the game, I think it would be better. But if you're playing just bronze and silvers for 4 hours, you go up like, a couple hundred points, but like, what did you just use time to grind that, right? Which is why like getting like the ranking system it's more again a function of time than a function of skill when it really comes down to it. So I think that's kind of what that looks like. I would rather that rank system. I think it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more to make it worth it. I don't know if like you just need more prizing or whatnot, but also I think I would rather wait another minute or so to get a better rank. And also, I didn't really touch on this, but when you hit the go button, it searches for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then if it doesn't find anyone, it just kicks you out, right? So I think that needs to be scaled up a little bit more, like search for a minute and just try to find you someone that is about your skill level. I'd rather play people who are closer than me than just try to dunk on bronze and silvers for the entire day, right? So I don't know. I think that's something that a lot of people have kind of echoed for this. And we have, at least another month and a half of this ranked server, and it's not really doing anything too. So I don't know if it's also better to just have it on like a month by month basis or what the better way to do it, because having one ranked between set releases, at least for the current pace right now, which is like 3 months, that's just quite a long time to kind of grind and get there. I think there'd be a better, if it was like once a month instead of once every 3 months, that could also be better, but I'm not really sure for that. So that's kind of all my thoughts on the rank system, and let's go to the economy. All right, so real quick, I do want to mention kind of what I'm talking about. So we have these gems in the game right here at the top right. So these are what you use to buy stuff in the store. You also do have serial codes, which you can use. Like a pack gets you, one in-game pack, which is nice. A starter deck gets you one in-game starter deck, which is pretty nice as well. You got one starter deck code for entering the game, as well. And then we also have like our daily missions and stuff. So we get like what? Not a lot on the daily, right? We get 20 gems on the daily, which is if you did a thing every day, if you Monday through Friday, if your job was doing all these dailies, you would get one pack, which is not a lot. Honestly, not a lot. We do also have these weekly ones, which I think gets you like a couple extra packs. We get this one like 4 times, I think, so 80 plus 40. So like I think throughout, if you did Monday through Friday, you grinded every day and got through all the things, which is these daily rewards are pretty easy. I think you get like 3 packs max. Like you do not get a lot. You do not get a lot of packs. There's also like achievements you get, but I think that these numbers are a little bit low for what it is. There have been like some reward packs every once in a while for our codes and stuff, right? We've gotten some like release presents. They gave us 500 gems, which I think they should have given us 1,000. I don't know. When they kind of use the store, and the store is kind of the basis of what they do, and it's a basis of like 1,000, they should probably just give us 1,000 as it, like like this 1,000. It's probably just how it should be. So I don't know. That's something I think a lot of people have been harping on. Like the in-game gems, you don't get a lot of them, which kind of seems a little bit low. And again, like spending, I'm gonna say, let's say I spend another 100 hours to get like top 100 or so over 3 months, right? And they get me 10 packs. That is definitely not in my favor, right? Not in my favor in the slightest. I do think like comparatively though, if we try to add gems though, gems kind of cap out as 1,000 gems or 100 gems $1 essentially. I don't think that's necessarily terrible for what this is at that rate, but like the in-game gems to pack ratio is just rough for earning them. I did also want to mention that for what I did, again, I got about 200 packs. I spent $60 outright just buying the $60 gem pack. I bought about 100 code packs, and then I spent about 40 packs from boxes and packs that I've opened as well. So that's where I got about my 200 for it. So ended up being, it's hard to say with the box codes that I got from it, but I spent a little bit under, like between $100 and $150 because I got honestly a good deal on my code or the code packs that I bought. But so that's where I'm at for this one. And I also want to show you guys what that kind of gives you real quick. It doesn't give you everything, if you can believe it or not. We can look at my collection, and we can look at the super rares that I have and I don't have. And we'll talk about the wild card system in a second too. But from what it is, here I can go through and I can look at rarity and I can choose super rares and apply, and we can go all cards, I believe. Yeah. So fun fact, I actually do not have 4 copies of the Aandroidd 17 and 18 super rare. I only have 3. I only had 3 after opening all these. I do have like 4 super rare wild cards. I can use them. Luckily, I can get away with running 3 of these anyways. And most decks play 2, but there's just a big issue with how these are kind of obtained. I think the other issue too is that if you buy a box of cards in person, you'll get like 7 super rares a box, and they're kind of mapped in the sense that you don't get any duplicates, right? Worst case, you get like 2 duplicates. In this game, you can get like 5 super rares, and 4 of them are Goku Black kind of thing. So that's been kind of an issue for this one. And so you probably already know, but real quick, how the wild cards work is that if you get any extra copies of a wild card, of a card, you get 20 points towards this wild card for one of these. And I'm going to be honest, this system makes no sense. I was like, maybe it defends it, maybe I can get it. No, it's pretty terrible. A couple of things. One, I have 12 liter wild cards. What am I doing with these? You can use these wild cards to generate only standard versions of cards that already exist. So what that means is that if I have every leader in the game, there's no reason to get these, right? Same with commons and uncommons, especially since commons and uncommons don't have like alternate arts. There's literally no reason for these. I have 110 common wild cards. It's only going to be higher than this. I'm never going to craft a common card. Rares, same thing. And then also super rares. Super rares and secrets are kind of the ones that you would want the most because of that. But it's a little bit tricky for another reason. So the reason for that is that you cannot, for example, let's say I get a super rare like foil version. Like for example, there's 4 different copies of this Ginyu. There's like the regular art, there's like the regular art with animation, there's the special art, and then there's the special art with animation, right? Which is pretty cool. Honestly, like the animation ones look really nice, and I think they're a good add to it. But 2 things. One, if I want these cards, I have to hard pull them from packs, which is going to be very tricky to do, especially with how hard it is, like expensive it can be to get packs in that way, right? 2, let's say I have 3 of this Ginyu and 1 of this Ginyu, then I don't get, like if I get another Ginyu, like I have to have 4 of the same art, I guess, for the wild card. And it still gives me, as far as I don't know, I haven't got enough packs to get 4 all art Ginyus of the same kind, but I don't get anything special. I get like a super rare wild card of 1, right? So I played a lot of different digital card games. Hearthstone's like the one I've played probably the most, and they have like a really good crafting system where you can craft all your cards. They can eventually add up to some big ones, and you also can craft like the alternate art versions of them too, right? For this game, you do not get to do that, which is quite of a shame. Again, if you want anything besides the base version, you just have to hard pull it from the packs, which is really a shame because I do want to try to get some of these different leaders, which I guess we'll change the rarities for these here. What leader rare? I guess no rare. I guess no rare. There it is. There's the leader rare. Yeah, look. So I mean, I have some leaders, but I don't really have like any of the fancy animated ones, right? I have like cooler. I have like the most. I have like the standard version. I have the standard animated, and I have like the alt art version of it too. But I don't have like the alt art animated, right? And if I want this card, I have to hard pull it from a pack. There's no other way for me to get this card. I can't craft it. I can't spend money. Besides, let's hoping to pull it from a pack. And then if I get like an alt art version of the Goku leader, then like I'm not getting anything, right? And I've yet to pull an alt art animated leader for any of them. And I've gotten over 200 packs at this point. So that gives you some information of like my odds and stuff for that as well. So, and then lastly, I kind of want to just talk about like the secret rares, which this kind of just shows the point better than anything else. So again, I've gotten so many packs, about 200 packs. I've gotten 5 Gohans, and I've gotten 2 Gokus. And even though I have 5 copies of Gohans, and even though I cannot use all 5 of these in the same deck, I literally cannot craft Gokus. If I want to craft a Goku secret rare, I have to get 5 more copies of this Son Gohan. I think actually it might need 6, right? I need 6 more copies. I need to pull 6 more copies of the Son Gohan childhood to be able to craft 1 Goku, because it needs 5 extra copies of the secret rare, and then I have to be, it gives me the wild card for it. So there's almost like literally no way to get secret rares unless you pull them either, which kind of stinks. So luckily I have 2 Gokus, which is like the minimum. Like it is about where people run. Some people run 3, and which I strictly won't be able to do. But it's just an issue. I think the way that you can't really convert your cards that you own into other cards easily is like the biggest downfall for this as a game as well. So that's like the issue that I think is accessibility to other people. The one thing that I will say and kind of conclude this section is that because of how the randomness works, it's kind of like it doesn't fall like a standard curve, right? Like if I spend 10 packs, then, I'm 10 packs closer to getting my deck. It's more of like an exponential curve, meaning if I spend $100 at that time, or I guess maybe closer to 150, I will get enough duplicate super rares that I can craft the rest of the super rares that I didn't pull from naturally opening packs. That's how it is. So if you spend like $100, you have every deck in the game. If you spend $50, you get like maybe 1 deck, right? And it's maybe not the deck that you want. So I think from a standpoint where people want to be able to buy the decks that they want to play and they only want to play 1 deck, the crafting system is pretty trash. But if you are like me, and I will say that as someone who essentially wants to get a play set of the set anyways, because I make content and everything else, it hasn't affected me as much because, again, I just put the money in and I get all the cards eventually, either through wild cards or not. And that's the difference for me. But that doesn't mean that it's right. That's just my experience for it. And it's just lopsided, right? It's not a good system. I think it needs to be overhauled. I think there needs to be a way for you to just have like, I'm just compared to Hearthstone, again, just general dust, where you can convert X amount of uncommons into, leader cards into one of these. Like, there has to be some kind of conversion for this, for people who really want their super rares or secret rares. And then also either just have it a way for you to manually craft some of the alt arts, even if they're expensive, manually way to craft them. And then also a way to just convert your, all, like, for example, I would trade in, two of these Gohans for one Goku kind of thing. Or I would trade, what I mean? Like, I would downgrade my alt art secret rares just so I have regular copies of them. And that would happen the same way for any of my super rares too, where, for example, I guess I have everything, right? But I would trade in, I don't know, an alt art version of this Mai so that I have a regular version of this 1718 that I'm missing, right? And I think a lot of other people are in the same boat where they want to be able to convert their high rarity cards into manual rarities, and then also vice versa. Some people want to convert, up convert, and they'll spend the time, energy, the gem, whatever it is, the system they want for it. So unfortunately, I don't think that there's a great way. I think this is like an overhaul, which means that it's going to take time for them to implement. So I don't think that's going to be on the short term, unfortunately. But I think that's the greatest shortcoming of this game, is just how difficult it is to actually obtain cards. And especially, like, again, like, the alt arts for these cards are so beautiful. They look fantastic. I know for sure, like, this is like one of the few cards that I have the animated alt art version of it. There's a special animation that this hit plays compared to the regular hit, which is really cool that it happens. And all that's just, it becomes very rare to see because of it. So I think a lot of people would, even frankly spend more money if the way that they could treat their dollars was better, and they're just not doing it. So that's kind of like, I guess, the largest part of this video. I've been ranting, I feel like, forever, but it's just not in a good spot, I feel like, and it could be treated better for how this card game works. So I think, like, the idea that, you spend $60 for 60 packs is actually pretty great. I think just what the packs convert to is not too bad. Because if I spent $60 on the 6,000 gems, and based on the packs that I got, I think I got like over 10 super rares. I think I got closer to like 12, and like a secret rare too. So that was honestly like a really good investment compared to like what the box is. Obviously, they're digital cards compared to physical cards, but I didn't feel, I felt like to buy packs for cash, it was a pretty good conversion. But I know that the packs don't convert to good cards all the time. So lastly, the constructed decks, these are fantastic. 400 gems to get, like, all of these decks are pretty much meta right now, or have meta cards for it. So I think these are fine. They definitely could have charged more than 400 gems, so I think 400 gems is great. I bought all of these, but I don't think any of these cards are super fantastic for this either. It is nice having some sleeves. I think they need to add more cosmetics, but they will eventually, I'm sure. And then all the player card stuff is whatever. I had extra gems because I spent money, and so I used it to bling out this guy as well. But that's what my thought is. I think all of you guys are feeling the same kind of frustration when it comes to trying to play this game and dip your toes into it, and it's not very friendly monetarily to dip your toes into it. I don't think you have to, like, spend, again, I think you could spend $100 and make most decks in the game, but if you spend $50, you might be able to make one. So because of just how the wild card system works and the ratios work, it's hard to make one single deck. It's actually easier to make every deck in the game, which is kind of weird. One more quick, like, mini section I didn't talk about is that apparently pay gems are 90 days. And the reason I say apparently is because it's only mentioned in their FAQ, but I don't see it mentioned anywhere in their terms of service for this one. I think this is honestly something that they're actively changing as of this recording. And the reason I say that too is because for the actual client as well, it says that I can look through my history to confirm that with the upper right hand corner and then plus the history button. If I go there on the actual client, it doesn't exist. I can click right here, but there's no, like, history button after, so I can just, like, click on it. And I have these miscellaneous notes that lead to terms of services that at the moment are also just not received either. So I don't really know what that is. That's probably being changed because I know a lot of people are just making a lot of fuss about being 90 days. 90 days is whatever. If I buy gems, I use them immediately, so it doesn't really affect me, but it might though, because I've also seen, like, this image floating around for this remaining gem confirmation. I haven't got this to, like, trigger myself, to be honest. I did, like, literally buy some gems and then try to buy a pack. I didn't get this remaining gem confirmation at all. So I don't know where this is found. I don't know if they're changing it actively for just the feedback for it, but that's something that's mentioned. If it's 90 days and paid gems are used first, go for it. If it's 90 days and that free gems are used first, that makes no sense. I don't know why they would do that. That seems pretty bad in a lot of ways, especially since I don't see it in their terms of service from looking at it, and it's only really mentioned in their FAQ. So if that's what it's really going to look like, that's pretty stinky, I think, all on all accounts. And I think that should be fixed, which I think is actively happening right now, but I don't know. So that's one more thing. Anyways, let's go to the conclusion. All right, and to wrap this one up from a gameplay standpoint, I think the digital card game is near one-to-one to the physical card game when it comes down to actually playing it. I don't really have any issues. There were like some tiny ones that they again addressed in the first couple weeks, which I really appreciate that. And I don't think there's any like negative part from playing it on the digital, from like saying, oh, these are how the cards interact and this is how the game works. So that's really nice. Animations look great. Feels polished, and honestly, like it feels like a lot of love went into it. They're just like how the cards have different animations, how things attack. I think that's really cool. And then also the lobby features are really nice. There are more features than I was expecting. I had kind of low standards and expectations for that. So for a content creator and also just a streamer who does tournament stuff, it's really, really helpful from that point of view as well. Only negative part is that the lobby search time is pretty high, as you guys saw earlier in the video. If they could make that a little bit quicker, I'd really appreciate that. But even then, like no actual qualms from that side of the game. For the rank system, the good point is that it does have a rank system. I know like on Master Duel's release, it didn't really have one, and just it's fine that it exists. I think the 3-month season, you guys could either like it or hate it. I personally think it's just an okay spot. I probably would rather have like 1-month rotations for this, just to make the grind feel a little bit more impactful, but also to make you get rewards more often. Because either like at the rewards that we get right now, it feels like more like 1-month seasons than like, again, 3-month seasons. Because again, like we are just at the end of the first month, and we've got like 2 more months until we get these prizes. And again, like if we get number 1 spot, we get like less than 20 packs, which seems kind of low. No actual matchmaking is it was a bit of an issue. I know like on my climb up, like, oh yes, I'm beating this bronze player. It's feeling amazing. I get to climb up a little bit faster, but I think long term it'd be better and be more impactful and just mean more if you're playing against people closer to your actual skill, and to be able to it just means that like the climb is not as much of a function of time, and again is more of one of skill. So it makes it feel better. It makes it feel more impactful when you're able to get into God rank when you're playing against people who are around your same skill level, instead of just, again, a bunch of bronze and silver players. And then kind of, as I mentioned, the lackluster end of season rewards, especially since like your rewards are things that you can buy anyways. The only like unique item is like this season ticket or like sticker that you can put on your profile, I'm assuming. And if there are like, I don't know, like if you get some like a secret rare wild card maybe, or even if there's a way for you to get like an all art leader of your choice, something like that, something to say that this is worth something, and that it's not something that you could just easily throw money at and get as well. I think something like that would be more impactful than being able to, just get gems and packs and that kind of stuff. So I think there's some wiggle room to make some impactful decisions on there. I'm not saying like an exclusive card for that, but maybe like I could see like getting some God rank card backs in the future too, and that's kind of where that's is. So I don't know. I think there could be better fleshed out. It's fine-ish, but I know that probably by this time next month, I'm probably going to be pretty bored of it, even as someone who's as an avid card game player and supporter of Bondi and Dragon Ball Super in general. And then lastly, the economy, the 1 USD to 1 pack I think is fine, to be honest. I've seen other card games be like a little bit more expensive for that kind of line, so it's fine for what it is. I'm not saying it's great, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just an okay compromise at the current point. But I think the wild card system, as we kind of showed, is just pretty trash. I think most people are feeling that at this point. It's hard to craft one deck. I kind of mentioned this easier. It's easier to craft every deck in the game than it is to craft one singular deck. And what I'm trying to say when I say that is that if you are trying to if you buy 100 packs, you'll probably get enough cards to build most decks in the game. But if you're trying to spend $20 to build one deck, you're probably out of luck unless you're just really, really lucky. So it's kind of a weird bell curve in that way, where you have to spend, if you spend X amount, then you have every card in the game and then you're fine. But if you don't spend that much, you probably won't have enough to build the stuff. So, and to say, like, again, I've opened over 200 packs and I still don't have technically a low rarity collection of cards to play in this point, kind of says something too. And then no down or up converting of cards. I think this is a big one, and I hope this one is addressed pretty quickly. Again, like, people have extra copies of alt art or super rares that they're not wanting to use that they could convert into like a super rare that they really want, like a vanilla one. And I think that would be a pretty good trade-off, and you're just not able to do that. So I hope they're it's just mostly like the crafting system is really inflexible, and it's not for the user's benefit more times than not. It's more like a tiny consolation prize for buying a lot of packs. So, and then gems, I kind of did that whole mini section as well, but I think that you're not getting enough gems as is for the game, for how impactful it is, and I think that's a bit of an issue too. So we'll see what this looks like, but I think that all needs to be addressed as well. So there it is. All right, and then here are the changes that I would really like to see. I'm not saying in the next week or so. Honestly, based on my own experience with software engineering and all this, these are probably changes that will happen in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe. And then I can already hear, but the game's going to be dead by that point. Perhaps, but I think that these are changes that would benefit the game a lot. If I'm being super duper honest, I think the game barely came out a month ago. I think they had this target that they wanted it out during the first month of release of the physical card game. And so what we got was literally what they had at that moment. I think that they said, you know what, we'd rather release this game and have it functional matchmaking wise, which it is technically, like the actual gameplay is functional. And then they're going to add the other stuff in later, which positives and negatives for both. I'm happy that the game is out, but I do hope that this is just like technically like a 0.9 version of the game instead of like a true 1.0, if that makes sense for it. So I truly do hope that they're still working on it and they're trying to implement more features and more user beneficial features. And this was just what they released to get it out on time. Like, they released it on February 29th. And they mentioned it in January, and then they didn't say anything until it was out. So I really think there's like a 50-50 if they were actually going to release it on that date. So anyways, my changes. I kind of mentioned it. Shorter rank seasons or higher rewards are both. I think that'd be very good for a lot of people. Better matchmaking in general, being able to play more people in your skill level. Flexible crafting system, because the current system is really inflexible, and it's just I still don't have a master collection of base rarity cards. And then I think the gems that you get on the daily needs to be a little bit higher. I think if you play all your daily quest out and you get a single pack, I think that's a good compromise between two people, like between them and the players, especially since, I mean, it's not costing Bandai really anything. It is like potentially losing out on what people would have spent money wise anyways for gems. But I think that being able to use gems, like if you give enough gems away so people have a daily pack, people will keep showing up. People will keep saying, you know what, I need to get my daily pack of Fusion World, so I have to play some games. I need to get to it, and then I can log off, right? Like, people who are in like the mid investment for this game, they will feel bad if they don't get their daily gems for their daily pack. If they miss out on their daily 20 gems, that is 1/5 of a pack, it won't be really impactful and people just won't play, right? So I think that's something that would help player base, like people play the game more and get people into the game a little bit more. And I don't think it's like that much of a trade-off for them either. So anyways, that's a long rambly video. I know you guys probably have your own opinions, but these are mine. And I hope they kind of line up a little bit. In general, I love the card game that this client is based around. The client itself needs some adjustments. I'm not really affected by most of them right now because I have all the cards that I need anyways. So that's my bias against a lot of this. But in a month and a half or so, we're getting set 2. And so I know that these will be echoed even louder if the system's not changed by that point. So that's kind of it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are enjoying the game after all. I do tournaments weekly as well online, so you guys can join those if you guys are interested. And it's going to be interesting to see if there's any changes in the next couple weeks as well. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.